Om Shanti, 31st July 2023, Baapdada Sakar Murli. In the essence, Baba says, sweet children, remember the Father. This remembrance is the donation of yoga to the world. The world will become pure through this and your boat will go across. Question: which children are looked after by Baapdada himself in the fallen moments? Answer: 1. The children who remain engaged in doing the service of changing thorns into flowers over a long period of time and who are full helpers of the Father are looked after by the Father himself in the final moments. Baba says, I will show my helpful children wonderful scenes and scenery and entertain them a great deal. They will see a lot of happiness at the end and continue to have visions. Number 2. Only the children who have made the lesson firm of belonging to the one Father and none other will receive the Father's help. Song: O beloved, come and meet me. Om Shanti. The beloved and the lovers. The beloved is one and the lovers are many. All the lovers are calling out to the one God. Innumerable devotees are calling out to Him. What for? For happiness. A Kumari calls out to her beloved, come and meet me. What for? For happiness. An engagement takes place for happiness. However, you children know that since this is now the kingdom of Ravan, you cannot receive happiness from a beloved. There cannot be happiness in the kingdom of Ravan. All lovers are in the cottage of sorrow and this is why they are calling out. No one calls out in the cottage that is free from sorrow. Since there isn't any sorrow or suffering, why would anyone call out? The beloved is remembered by those in sorrow. Whereas, after you lovers find the beloved, you are freed from remembering him for half a cycle. You now know that only the one Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul, is the sweetest and most lovely beloved. He is the highest and the most elevated one of all. Here, no human being can call himself the most elevated one of all. Although they say that God is omnipresent and say Shivoham, they are more elevated than one another, are they not? Among the sages, some sages prostrate themselves as a sign of respect in front of more elevated sages. However, only the one Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul, has been remembered as the highest beloved of all. All remember him and that is definitely for happiness. When there is a lot of sorrow, the lovers remember him a great deal. You children haven't yet experienced that much sorrow. A lot more sorrow is yet to come. Whomever you call out to would surely come. The Father also comes. By belonging to the Father, you receive the inheritance of happiness in a second. You children should have the faith that you have come into the lap of the Father and so you have received liberation in life in a second. When a child is born, he is taken into one's lap and there is then the faith that that one is in higher. This one is the unlimited Father. You now recognize him very clearly. There is no difficulty in recognizing him. There are many children. It is remembered that son shows father. There is no need for anyone to say anything. There are so many Brahma Kumars and Kumaris. No one, apart from God, has as many children. Shri Krishna is a human being with divine virtues. Human beings cannot have as many children. You know that you are the children of Shiv Baba. You can say that no human being has this many children. There are so many Brahma Kumars and Kumaris. There is praise of Prajapita Brahma. People remember the Trikaldarshi Supreme Soul. Only God can have so many children. So, only when that incorporeal one comes here in a corporeal form can he adopt you. How could he adopt you if he didn't have a body? You have come into God's lap. You know that He alone is the beloved. He is the sweetest and loveliest one of all. The one whom you love is called the beloved. We know that our highest and high beloved is that one from whom we lovers receive an abundance of happiness of heaven. We are personally sitting in front of him on the path of devotion. They sing that by taking the name of Ram, people are able to go across. This is why they say Ram, Ram, a great deal. Just as they consider the river Ganges to be the purifier, people go there and light a deepak, a small earthenware lamp on a leaf. Just as they have shown Sri Krishna floating on a leaf in the ocean, sucking his thumb, those people light a deepak and place it on a leaf. A soul is also a deepak light. Human beings don't have full knowledge. For them it has become a custom. They light a deepak and say that the soul goes across. The Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul, is called the boatman. He takes you across the ocean of poison. Those people have heard this and created a custom. The Father ignites the deepaks of souls. All of these things are symbolic. The soul has to shed his body, this body, and go across to the supreme abode. You know that souls are to go across the ocean of ignorance to the other side. The Father alone is the boatman. The Ganges cannot be given the name boatman. The boatman and the bridegroom are needed together. He takes so many back with him to the other side. They have given him many different names. However, it isn't that he sits you in a boat or a steamer and takes you across. You children know how you stay on the pilgrimage of remembrance. There is no need to say Ram, Ram with your lips. Human beings tell you to say Ram, Ram. They believe that they are donating that name. The Father donates imperishable jewels of knowledge to you. He says, Sweetest, beloved souls, remember me, your Father. This remembrance of the Father is the donation of yoga to the world. Remember Shiv Baba. In fact, they call the Supreme Father the Supreme Soul Ram. But then they say King Ram is the Lord of the Raghu clan. You children now know the drama. You know all about who came from the time of heaven and how they will come again. Whatever has happened, it is all fixed in the drama. When bhog etc. is offered, that too is fixed in the drama. It is nothing new. You watch as detached observers. Each one is an actor. You know that everyone will play their parts and return home in happiness. When someone dies, people say that that person has become a resident of heaven. You know that you are making effort to become residents of heaven. People go and live at Kashi. They go and sit on the banks of the river Ganges. They have a Shiva temple there and stay in constant remembrance of him. They praise the river Ganges and also Shiva. No one goes to sacrifice himself in the river Ganges. Truly, the purifier is Shiva alone. This is a secret. There is the Shiva temple there. Previously, they used to sacrifice themselves to Shiva in a special well. You can give knowledge to those in Banaras very well. Tell them, you are sitting here and there are the banks of the river Ganges and there is also the Shiva temple. So, why do you surrender yourselves to Shiva? Is Shiva the purifier or is the Ganges? In fact, Shiva alone is the purifier. People sacrifice themselves to God alone. God would not sacrifice himself to God. That is not possible. It is not that I am God and you are God. God would not become impure that he would go to bath in the Ganges. You can quickly disprove the idea of omnipresence. You have to prove that the purifier is Shiva. Points are given to you children for you to explain. It is very easy and very good to explain to Kashi. There is the Shiva temple there and so He must definitely have come at some point. Shiva is always called Baba. He never receives a body of his own. In fact, many children have the name Shiva. Hundreds of thousands too would have the name Sri Krishna. However, that Sri Krishna existed in the Golden Age. Devotees of Sri Krishna would pick up an idol of the Sri Krishna and worship that. They would not worship a human being. Therefore, this proves that Sri Krishna exists in the Golden Age. Human beings don't know who Radhe and Krishna were or when they ruled their kingdom. The Father sits here and explains this to you. You are the spinners of the discus of self-realization. No one can explain how Vishnu was given the name, the spinner of the discus of self-realization, or what he did. The Father is incorporeal. No one knows when Vishnu took all the ornaments in the hands. We understand that all of this is fixed in the drama. Those who created the pictures on the path of devotion will do the same again. All of this is a predestined play. The path of devotion continues for half a cycle and the path of knowledge continues for half a cycle. You understand these things. You must be enjoying yourselves. You are true lovers. Those beloveds are false. There is a difference between something real and something false. A false beloved and the real beloved. A wife calls her husband love. You now know that we lovers have found such a sweet beloved. He is called the beloved and also the father. The father also has love. You at least receive the inheritance from the father. Lovers don't receive an inheritance from their beloveds. Instead of considering yourselves to be lovers, consider yourselves to be children and you will get a taste of the inheritance. Shiva is always called Baba. Shiv Baba is never called Shiva husband. You must not chant the name of Shiva now. Simply remember Baba. When children come, they are asked, when did you start to belong to God? Until someone becomes a child, he cannot receive the inheritance. He is the mother and father, and so you have to meet him personally. If you have faith but you die without meeting him, you can't receive the inheritance. There are many who don't receive the inheritance, they become subjects. The father says, when you have the faith that that one is that same mother and father, you have to come personally in front of him. Then you have to serve others and make them similar to yourselves. You have to create subjects and also your hires. That will not happen by sitting at home. You have to make effort. Some children don't churn the ocean of knowledge about these things. The Sri Krishna Leela, divine activities of Krishna are very well known. The divine activities take place in the Golden Age. They cannot take place here. They simply continue to copy them. You children can understand what will exist in heaven and what the palaces there will be like. Don't even ask about the things there. Your mouths begin to water. The Father only gives happiness. You don't invoke the Father for sorrow. There is a lot of sorrow in the world. In a family, if a daughter-in-law happens to be very troublesome, she turns the family upside down. Baba has seen many such families. There is now very little time left. When you belong to the Father, He will help. If someone doesn't become an heir, how could he or she receive help from the one who gives the inheritance? The Father says, don't be afraid. Wealthy people are afraid. This Father is the bestower. You used to give to the poor in my name on the path of devotion, and you also used to receive a birth according to that. Now I tell you directly, belong to me and I will give you your fortune of the kingdom. Shiv Baba doesn't need to build buildings, etc. People ask you, since all the buildings, etc. are to be destroyed, why are you having so many houses built? Okay, but where would we then stay? The children who come at the end will also have to come and live here. You will see a lot of scenes and scenery at the end and remain in a lot of happiness. As that time comes close, you will continue to have many visions through Baba. Those who remain helpers will experience a lot of happiness at the end. At the time of sorrow, they will experience a lot of happiness. That happiness is wonderful. You lived comfortably in Pakistan too. Baba used to give you visions of how marriages take place in paradise and how the kingdom of Lakshmi and Narayan is run. You will see a great deal if you continue to help Shiv Baba in changing thorns into flowers. It is said, when a child remains courageous, the father helps. You should remember such a beloved a great deal. The world doesn't know this. There are so many children, and so they must definitely have the mother and father from whom they receive a lot of happiness. This praise is not of worldly parents. You can see in a practical way how there are so many children. God the Father is the creator. When He creates you, He adopts you through whom? This creation is mouth born. It is very easy to explain this. You have now come into God's lap and you will then go into the laps of deities. Then you will go into the laps of devils. We go to the land of peace and then the land of happiness by being in God's lap. By being in the laps of devils, we go to the land of sorrow. Remember this mantra very well. Gopikas in bondage call out. Therefore, one effort or another has to be made for them. Baba would not be able to go to the little villages. Baba comes and meets the children in the big cities. He has to go there. It has been explained to you how you have to surrender yourselves. King Janak surrendered himself and was then told to look after everything as a trustee. You definitely have to sustain your creation. Consider yourselves to be soul's trustees. Maya Ravan causes sorrow, and this is why there is no temple to Ravan. However, they do create effigies. Ravan has caused you a lot of sorrow. To the extent that Ravan has caused sorrow, accordingly they burn just as big an effigy of him every year. Shiv Baba has given you happiness and his temple is therefore very grand. There cannot be a temple to Ravan who causes sorrow. They totally destroy him so that nothing of his is visible. Shiv Baba's temple is visible. He is worshipped so much. In fact, only one Shiv Baba and none other is ever worthy of worship. You then become worshippers from being worthy of worship. Acha. To the sweetest beloved, long lost and now found children, love, remembrance and good morning from the mother, the father, Baapdada. The spiritual father says namaste to the spiritual children. The spiritual children in return to the spiritual father says good morning, namaste, namaste, namaste. Thank you so much, Baba. Essence for Dharna, point number 1. Stay in remembrance of the Father and remind everyone of Baba. Continue to make this donation. Surrender yourself to the Father and look after everything as a trustee. Point number 2. Watch as a detached observer the part of every actor. Constantly remain aware that you are completing your part and are to return home in happiness. Blessing. May you be a blessed image and always bless everyone in your complete and perfect form by becoming equal to the Father. May you be a blessed image and always bless everyone in your complete and perfect form by becoming equal to the Father. Explanation to this: in Bharat especially, goddesses and deities are remembered in the form of those who are blessed. However, only those who become equal to the Father and who stay close to Him can become embodiments that are blessed. If you are sometimes equal to the Father and at the other times not equal to the Father, but are an effort maker, you cannot be a blessed image. The Father does not have to make effort because He is always in His perfect and complete form. When you remain equal to Him, that is, in your complete and perfect form, you will then be called an image that is blessed. Slogan: Run the intense race of remembrance and you will become a victorious bead in the garland around the Father's neck. Run the intense race of remembrance and you will become a victorious bead in the garland around the Father's neck. अच्छा, ओम शांति, ओम शांति, ओम शांति.